How you doing, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Nomad Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Tony Torres. Wimbledon 2025 just finished today, July 13th, 10:27 p.m. out here in Los Angeles, California, right now. We have yet another matchup of the two young guns who are here to prove themselves, Yannick Sinner and Carlos Alcaraz. These guys are definitely making a case to say that the big three is officially over and make room for two because the big two is now here. Obviously, with Rafael Nadal and Roger Federer now retired, the only piece left of the big three is Novak Djokovic, and Yannick Sinner beat him in straight sets in the semifinals to further prove that the big three might be over, make room for two. Carlos Alcaraz and Yannick Sinner, these guys are just proving and proving again that these two are the next superstars of tennis. We don't see a third yet like the big three, but for sure we have a big two. These guys just always seem to be matching up in Grand Slam championships, in the Grand Slam finals. And it's really great to see. You don't really think it's very important to have, superstars in a league to bring more faces, to grab more attention, especially in the NBA. I didn't think it was very important for a big market team with a lot of superstars to win the finals. Oklahoma City just doing that. It still doesn't feel like it's a big deal to me. I'm not the biggest NBA fan, but I know the game enough to get by, and it just doesn't seem like it's that big of a deal. Shea Gilgeous-Alexander is a superstar. Back to these two superstars matching up at Wimbledon. Carlos Alcaraz now has five majors. Yannick Sinner now has four majors, and this is after their matchup today in the Wimbledon final. Otherwise, Carlos could have had six and Sinner could have had three, but Yannick did win his fourth major today. Carlos currently has five, and they are definitely going in the right direction. Both of these young guns already have five and four majors and their careers are barely getting started. And of course, their last matchup was in the French Open final, another championship match, where Yannick Sinner had three match points to win it all. A match points just like your game point in another game. He had three match points to win the French Open final. He couldn't complete it. He couldn't finish the job, and Carlos Alcaraz ended up coming back from being three match points down to win the French Open. And you got to think that's very discouraging and that could be very cloudy for the mind of Yannick Sinner. But they met again in this time the Wimbledon final, and Yannick Sinner got his revenge. That's for sure. He did it in four sets, very clean. I gotta say, all 6-4 sets. There wasn't really much pressure on Sinner, and he definitely learned his lesson and took some notes from that French Open final where Alcaraz came back from down three match points to defeat him and take open that French Open trophy. Yannick Sinner, he got his revenge and he did it pretty handedly at the Wimbledon final. What a matchup, no more Nadal, no more Federer. Djokovic, he's the last one standing, but he's not doing very well in these semifinal matchups against the new young talent. And who knows if Djokovic is going to be in another Grand Slam final. I would assume so, but winning another Grand Slam final, that's a little different. Hopefully he does. I like seeing history be written. And both these young guns already have at least three majors each. After today's Wimbledon final, Yannick Sinner has four majors, Carlos Alcaraz has five majors. A lot to catch up to for Roger Federer and Rafael Nadal. Roger Federer has 20 majors. Rafael Nadal has 22 majors. Djokovic is the king on the hill still with 24 majors. When it's that close in the number of championships, you could make an argument just like with LeBron and Jordan, even though Jordan seems to be separating himself more and more as LeBron continues to play because it just doesn't seem like LeBron's helping his case much as of lately. And Novak Djokovic won 24 Grand Slams, the undisputed king, no doubt. But with Nadal having 22 majors and Federer having 20, it's still close enough, in my opinion, to where you can make your arguments. But overall, Novak Djokovic does have the highest numbers of Grand Slams, aka majors. Um, my personal favorite is Federer. He has a one-handed backhand like myself. I didn't intentionally want a one-handed backhand. It was just more comfortable when I learned to play the game of tennis. And now we have these two young guns who are gonna chase their dreams and try to top Novak Djokovic with 24 Grand Slams, anywhere around there, like Federer's 20 or Nadal's 22. And there's still other records that have yet to be broken in tennis that isn't a Grand Slam record. You got the record for most singles titles that belongs to American Jimmy Connors. He has 109 titles altogether. Those titles are combined with your Grand Slams, and that's your overall number of singles titles. So if you win those singles events, in Cabo and like the Cabo Open, Indian Wells, San Diego Open, Marseille Open, the Toronto Championships, all of those are singles titles, and all of those titles do go combined with your Grand Slams at the end of your career. Yes, Novak Djokovic has the most overall at 24, but he doesn't have the most singles titles, which is a significant record. And Novak Djokovic does stand by himself, no doubt. Federer is my personal favorite, and he doesn't. Novak Djokovic doesn't have an overwhelmingly argument. That's why. That's why it's very good right now to be a tennis fan. You had the big three; all of them were semi close with their Grand Slam titles. And to the women's side, in the women's championship, we had American Anisimova take on the Polish queen, I should say. She already has 5 Grand Slams, I believe. Iga Swiatek. Iga Swiatek. How else can I put this? Very bluntly, all I could say is, Love 6 was the final in this women's championship. Love does mean zero, so 6-0, 6-0 was the final. And you got to feel for Anisimova. This American was always a good player, and no one was surprised for her to be in the final other than her beating Sabalenka. She's always proven herself. And to lose like that, it's embarrassing, but to be in a Wimbledon final as it is, it's already a great accomplishment. Obviously, the score of the match, you might be thinking it's a different story, but it takes a lot to get to a Wimbledon final, and I know Anisimova knows that. So to lose 0-6, 0-6, obviously it's gonna make it rain on your parade a little bit for making the Wimbledon championship for women. But when you're playing someone like Swiatek, that's the way it is sometimes. There is a lot of lopsided wins, and this is one of the most lopsided wins of them all. Very discouraging for Anisimova. The last time someone lost 6-0, 6-0 in a Wimbledon final was 1911, to give you some perspective. Anisimova, she did take some time off some time ago because she did feel like she was mentally overwhelmed playing the game, and she took some time off, and it paid off. She came back stronger, and she made it to a Wimbledon final. It's very unfortunate that the American lost 6-0, 6-0. You can't get any more. You can't hit the under any more than that. One player won all the games straight up. Her opponent didn't want nothing. That is a total of 12 games in this match. The under is your easiest hit there. 6-0, 6-0. A whopping total of 12 games. I'm sure that over under was in the 20s at least. For sure it has to go 2 sets, and if it was 6-4, 6-4, there you go. There's only one break in those sets, and you're at 20, still at the under. You would assume in a final that it's going to be a lot closer. You would assume you're going to get a tie break in one of these sets, but not even close. I'm glad I did not bet on these. I'm glad I did not take a look at these over unders. Sinner and Alcaraz, their over under was set at 41, and the under still hit with all the sets being a score of 6-4. In 4 sets, that's a total of 40 games, being the under of 41. Now, there were still great finals. I cannot complain. You have this new talent in the ATP on the tennis ATP tour, and it's great to see. Now that we don't have Federer anymore, we don't have Nadal anymore. We still have Djokovic, but Jannik Sinner just blew him off the court in the Wimbledon semifinal, further proving that these guys are here to stay and are here to win more majors. Like I said earlier, Carlos now has 5 majors after today. Sinner now has four majors, his first Wimbledon and his first Wimbledon final. To do it in his first Wimbledon final is also impressive. On top of that, him choking the match away in the French Open final against Alcaraz, having three match points and not being able to put that match away, and further losing, ultimately losing to Alcaraz, losing a major there. But nonetheless, this final at Wimbledon was great. It's great to see these guys already have a handful of majors each, and maybe they'll catch up to the big three with Nadal having 22, Federer having 20, and Djokovic having 24. You assume that it's a very tall order, but you never know, and I think it's very possible for both these young gentlemen to do it. I look forward to watching more of them, and obviously it's good for the league having these two young superstars. I didn't think much of it, and like I was saying with the NBA, I don't think the NBA needs superstars to be on the NBA champions team. And Oklahoma City still did have a superstar in Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. He might not have the pop like Michael Jordan or Anthony Edwards, but he's skilled enough to know that he's a superstar. On top of that, he is the 2025 NBA Finals MVP. Now with tennis, you know, it is a little different. You got to admit it. With the big three almost out the door, you don't know if it's just as exciting when you have a new name in a Grand Slam final. um we don't know because it didn't happen, but you have guys like Daniil Medvedev, Zverev, Tsitsipas, and they're yet to get over the hump and win those Grand Slam finals because of these two young guns here taking them all, saying that they're showing that they're here to stay and they're here to fill in the shoes of the big three. Now, obviously, I do think it's good for the league, having these two here in Alcaraz and Sinner. In the NBA, they have Shea Alexander on the Oklahoma City Thunder. Not a superstar, obviously. No, take it back. He is a superstar. He just doesn't have that pop that everybody likes. But he is the face of the NBA now. He's your current Finals MVP. Now, with Alcaraz and Sinner being the two new faces of the ATP, I could say that as a fact. I believe so because these guys already have four and five majors altogether, and they've had matchups in Grand Slam finals, in major finals, plenty of times already. Once today at Wimbledon, once at the French Open. I believe once at either the U.S. Open and the Australian Open. It just makes it so much bigger when these guys are matching up in finals, in final matches, in the championship matches, I should say. It does make the sport bigger, and it does make it for a better product, no doubt. You don't need to be a tennis fan to know that when you notice that these two guys are matching up in the championship matches, that it's great for the sport, and and you're gonna see a great match. And Sinner pulled it off today. Now he's one Grand Slam behind Carlos, and these guys are both under 23 years old. Incredible to see. In my lifetime, I had the big three, and now I'm witnessing the big two. I didn't get to witness Jimmy Connors and John McEnroe, Bjorn Borg, Pete Sampras, Andre Agassi, Yvonne Lendl, Leighton Hewitt. I didn't get to watch those guys, but watching them on YouTube now, that's a generation I missed out on. But I did get the generations, the big three, and now the big two in Carlos Alcaraz and Yannick Sinner. I look forward to watching them both much more, especially in these Grand Slam championship matches. I hope they can both get at least 20. That's a very tall order, but I think it's possible, from what I've seen these guys do. Truly is incredible. And I got a feel for Anisimova, her losing in the women's championships 6-0, 6-0. But getting there is already accolade in itself. Obviously, it's embarrassing, but you hope she comes back stronger for sure. I hope she makes it to another Grand Slam final, and I hope she's at least able to keep it a lot closer. Winning it is hard as it is, but obviously, if you're in a Grand Slam final again, you do not want to be losing 6-0, 6-0, blown off the court. She was in tears in her post match interview, and understandably so. I would be very emotional too if I got to the championship match just to lose 6-0, 6-0. but I believe Anisimova is going to come back stronger. Um, she's not a spring chicken, but she's not old either, but she still has some good years left in her. She is in her prime, and maybe she'll take a grand slam out of all of this. Maybe that's she's learned enough from this loss to win a grand slam final. And congrats to Iga Swiatek, the Polish queen, for winning her either her fifth or her sixth grand slam, and I believe it was her first Wimbledon final, and to win it in that fashion, 6-0, 6-0. What an accomplishment. I know that felt good. Ash Barty isn't here anymore. Otherwise, I doubt Swiatek would be racking up her majors now, but Ash Barty's gone now. She was an incredible player, and for her to retire at such a young age, I believe she was 28, 29, something like that. That was incredible to see too. And I'm sad that I got into the sport right around when Ash Barty retired. And she's has just as much Grand Slams as Swiatek, I believe more, as a matter of fact. And now it's Sabalenka and Swiatek in the WTA, who can hope to fill in the shoes of Ash Barty and rack up more majors. Naomi Osaka, she was the GOAT at one point, and now she hasn't won a major, and I don't know how long. I don't even know how long it's been since she's made it to I would say a quarterfinal or a semifinal. But Swiatek and Sabalenka, it's their court to take now, unless someone pops up. Madison Keys, American, she won the Australian Open this year, first major of the year, and that was wonderful, wonderful to see. What a power hitter, and what a sick fact it is that I was able to watch her live at Indian Wells, front row. Her playing doubles with Jessica Pegula, both American, both top 10 players in the women's tour, and I got to watch Madison Keys front row at Indian Wells, and that's and that front row, that is, you get that ticket with a general access pass. If you get a general access pass to Indian Wells, you will have access to any seat you want in 8 of the 10 stadiums. The two biggest stadiums you need a separate ticket for. If you get that general access pass, you will have access to the other 8 stadiums, free for all seating, first come first serve. Good to know for you guys out here in California, or if you just want to travel to California for a tennis event. Indian Wells, your fifth major, there out in the desert. Guaranteed to see the biggest names in tennis if you go to that singles event. That's a guarantee. It's the fifth. They call it the fifth major for a reason. You could say the Paris Masters on clay. uh you can call that, that could be your argument for the fifth major, but there's not a lot of tournaments that can make that claim. And you got Indian Wells, the Paris Masters, maybe the Monte Carlo Masters, both of those on clay. But if you're in the conversation to be in the fifth slam, that's how you know that you're guaranteed to see a superstar when you go to that tournament. That's gonna wrap it up for today, guys. What a event Wimbledon was. What a major Wimbledon was. Alcaraz, Sinner, both showing that they're here to fill the shoes of the big three. What a match they had today. And on the women's side, the women's championship, Swiatek beating the brakes off of Anisimova, 6-love, 6-love. And congratulations to Swiatek. I do believe she's going to win more majors. And I do hope that Sabalenka can win some more as well, even though I'm not much of a fan as her. So I do suppose I want Swiatek to win more majors. And of course, I would like to see Anisimova win a major or more as well. Losing in that fashion, you feel for the girl, but to get to the Wimbledon final, that's an accomplishment as it is, and she knows it. And I think she's gonna come back stronger, no doubt. Hopefully, she can win a Grand Slam. That's it. Thank you guys, everybody. It's currently 10:45 p.m. here on the West Coast. So good night, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. And thank you for listening to another episode of the Nomad Sports Podcast.